There are places on Earth where technology doesn't work as it should. Places where satellite signals deviate in ways that defy the laws of physics. Places where the forest itself seems to be watching you. The Amazon rainforest is one such place. And in March 2021, something began broadcasting from the depths of this green hell. A signal. Clear, strong, artificial. It was coming from coordinates where no human settlement should exist. From places where no research station has ever been built. From areas even the most isolated tribes dare not venture into. Before I begin the story of what that signal was, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. I'm Captain Marcus Ghost Sullivan, U.S. Army Special Forces, 75th Ranger Regiment. I've operated in 17 countries across 4 continents. I've survived firefights, IED blasts, and situations that should have killed me. But nothing prepared me for what happened in the Amazon. For what we found at the source of that signal. For watching 5 of my brothers die in ways that made no sense. For the sounds that still wake me up screaming 3 years later. It started with a briefing at Fort Benning on March 8, 2021. I was called into a secure facility, 3 levels underground, the kind of room where conversations never officially happen. Waiting for me were 2 men in civilian clothes who didn't offer names, a CIA tech specialist, and a colonel I'd never met before. They showed me satellite data, thermal imaging, signal analysis, and a map of the Amazon basin with a red circle drawn around nothing. 2 weeks ago, our satellites detected an electromagnetic signal originating from this location, the tech specialist said, pointing to coordinates deep in the Brazilian Amazon, roughly 600 kilometers southwest of Manaus. The signal is broadcasting on multiple frequencies simultaneously. VHF, UHF, microwave. Some frequencies we can't even classify. It's powerful, consistent, and it shouldn't exist. Brazilian research station? I asked. Illegal mining operation? Negative. We've checked every database. Nothing registered in that area. The Brazilian government has no installations within 200 kilometers. And the signal strength is wrong. This isn't a portable transmitter. This is industrial-grade equipment requiring significant power generation. We're talking megawatts. In the middle of nowhere. One of the civilians spoke up. We've also detected unusual atmospheric disturbances around the signal source. Localized electromagnetic interference. Wildlife behavior anomalies. And 3 days ago, a commercial airliner reported complete instrument failure while flying over the region. They had to navigate by visual reference until they cleared the area. You're sending me to find an abandoned military installation, I said. Cold War era. Soviets or maybe even Nazi remnants. That's what this sounds like. Maybe, the colonel said. Or maybe something else. That's what you're going to find out. 8-man team. Insertion via helicopter to the edge of the interference zone, then overland to the signal source. Document what you find. Gather intelligence. Extract. 72 hours maximum. They gave me team selection authority. I chose 7 operators I'd worked with before. Men I trusted. Men who could handle jungle warfare, who wouldn't panic when things went sideways. Lieutenant Sarah Chen, my second in command. Former Army intelligence, spoke 4 languages including Portuguese, had a degree in electrical engineering. If anyone could analyze that signal, it was her. Sergeant First Class James Bola Martinez, our heavy weapons specialist and demolitions expert. Built like a tank, could carry twice the gear anyone else could. Staff Sergeant David Kim, communications and tech specialist. If it had circuits, Kim could hack it, fix it, or make it explode. Sergeant First Class Ryan Doc Harrison, our medic. 20 years of service, had seen every tropical disease and injury imaginable. Staff Sergeant Miguel Santos, sniper and reconnaissance specialist. could spot threats a kilometer away and put a round through them. Sergeant Jake Porter, youngest member of the team at 26, but already a veteran of Afghanistan and Syria, natural survivor, and Specialist Eric Webb, our indigenous warfare expert, had spent 2 years training with Brazilian special forces, spoke fluent Portuguese and basic economy, knew the Amazon better than any of us. We had 4 days to prepare, study satellite imagery, review survival protocols, get our vaccinations updated, yellow fever, typhoid, hepatitis, everything. The Amazon would kill you with disease faster than any enemy. We packed for worst-case scenario. 70 pounds of gear each. Weapons, ammunition, medical supplies, water purification, satellite phones, GPS units, emergency beacons. Everything we'd need to survive if extraction failed. March 12, 2021. We flew commercial to Manaus, Brazil, then transferred to a military helicopter courtesy of Brazilian Special Operations Command. They were briefed on our mission, investigation of possible illegal installation in protected territory, but not the full details about the signal. The less people who knew, the better. The helicopter insertion was at dawn. The pilot dropped us at a clearing 60 kilometers from the signal source, the closest he could get before instruments started acting erratically. "I'll return to this location in 72 hours, he said in Portuguese. "If you're not here, I'm gone. This jungle doesn't give second chances." We watched the helicopter disappear over the canopy, and suddenly we were alone. 8 men in the largest rainforest on Earth, hunting for something that shouldn't exist. The Amazon swallowed us immediately. The vegetation was so dense that even with machetes, we were lucky to make 2 kilometers an hour. Everything was wet. The humidity was oppressive, close to 100%. Within minutes, our uniforms were soaked with sweat. The temperature was in the mid-90s, but under the triple canopy jungle, it felt like a sauna. The sounds were overwhelming. Birds, insects, monkeys, frogs, all creating a wall of noise that never stopped. But Webb said that was good. When the jungle goes quiet, he told us, that's when you worry. That means predators, jaguars, anacondas, or worse. We moved in tactical formation, Porter on point with GPS, Santos covering rear security, weapons ready. The Amazon was beautiful and deadly. Poisonous frogs in colors that shouldn't exist in nature. Snakes coiled in branches overhead. Ants that could strip flesh from bone. Spiders the size of dinner plates. And beneath the beauty, the constant awareness that everything here wanted to kill you. 6 hours into the march, Kim's radio equipment started malfunctioning. "I'm getting interference," he reported. "Not static. Something else. It's like organized noise. Patterns." "We're still 40 kilometers from the signal source," Jen said, checking her GPS. "We shouldn't be experiencing interference at this range." "Unless the signal is stronger than satellite data indicated," I said. "Everyone check your equipment. Make sure GPS units are functioning." We all checked. All devices showed the same coordinates, the same bearing. But Kim was right. There was interference. A low-frequency hum that you felt more than heard. It made your teeth ache, made your bones vibrate. "This is wrong," Webb said quietly. "The jungle. Listen." We stopped, listened, and realized what he meant. The animal sounds were changing. The normal symphony of jungle noise was being replaced by something else. Repetitive calls. Birds singing the same notes over and over. Monkeys making sounds that didn't match their species. And underneath it all, that hum. That vibration. We continue, I decided. But stay alert. Something's affecting wildlife behavior. Could be the signal. Could be something else. "Santos, keep scanning for threats." We made camp that night in a small clearing. Set up perimeter sensors, arranged guard rotation, broke out MREs. Nobody had much appetite. The jungle at night was even worse than during the day. Complete darkness under the canopy. Our night vision showed green hell in every direction. And the sounds. God, the sounds. They changed even more. The repetitive calls had become synchronized. Hundreds of different species all vocalizing in the same rhythm. Like a choir. Like they were being conducted. That's not natural, Doc said, his voice tense. Animals don't coordinate like that. Not across species. Not unless something's forcing them. The signal, Chen suggested. If it's broadcasting on frequencies that affect nervous systems, it could be influencing behavior. Overriding natural patterns. Can humans be affected? I asked. Unknown. But we should monitor each other for behavioral changes. Memory issues, mood swings, anything unusual. We try to sleep in shifts. I had third watch, 0200 to 0400 hours. I was sitting with my back against a tree, night vision on, scanning the perimeter, when I heard it. Not the animal sounds. Something else. A voice. Human. Speaking English. Coming from the jungle beyond our perimeter. Help us, please, anyone. I keep my radio. All personnel, report status. Everyone checked in. All present. All awake now. Did you hear that? Porter whispered. The voice? We all had. A human voice. Male. American accent. Calling for help from the darkness. But there were no Americans out here. No one for hundreds of kilometers except us. Cold, so cold, they took the others. Please help. That's a recording, Kim said. Has to be. Some kind of lure. Predators in some regions use recorded sounds to attract prey. Predators don't have recording equipment, Martinez countered. That's technology. The voice came again, closer now. Can't find the way back. The signal, it changed us. Oh God, what did it do to Miller? Miller? Chin said sharply. Check the database. Cross-reference that name with missing persons, research teams, anything in this region. Kim pulled out his tablet, tried to access satellite data. No connection. We're too deep. But Miller, that's not an uncommon name. Could be coincidence. It's in the trees, watching, always watching. The signal tells it where we are. The voice was now coming from multiple directions, surrounding us. Same voice, same words, but from different locations simultaneously. Impossible. Unless there were multiple speakers, or multiple recordings, or something we didn't understand was happening. Weapons ready, I ordered. Formation. We're moving. Now. In the dark? Porter asked. Whatever's out there, it knows where we are. We're better off moving than sitting here waiting for it. We packed in under 2 minutes, formed up, and moved out using night vision and infrared. The voices followed us, always just beyond the range of visibility. Sometimes ahead, sometimes behind, sometimes on our flanks. Calling, pleading, warning, and always underneath the voices, that hum, that vibration, getting stronger. We marched through the night, put 5 kilometers between us and the camp. Finally, as dawn broke, the voices stopped. The jungle returned to its normal cacophony of animal sounds. But we were all shaken, all aware that something was very wrong with this place. I'm detecting the signal source now, Jin said, checking her equipment. We're 28 kilometers away. Signal strength is increasing exponentially. At this rate, our electronics will start failing completely within the next 12 hours. Can you analyze the signal? Determine what it is. She worked with her equipment for several minutes. It's complex. Multiple carrier waves, modulated in patterns I don't recognize. But there's structure, intelligence. This isn't random electromagnetic noise. This is communication, or instruction, or what? Or something beyond our current understanding of how signals work. Captain, Some of these frequencies shouldn't be possible. They're bleeding into bands that require quantum mechanics to explain. Whoever built this, they're working with technology decades beyond anything we have. We pushed on. The jungle was getting worse. The vegetation was changing. Trees that shouldn't grow at this elevation. Vines with thorns that looked artificial, too perfectly geometric. Flowers that tracked our movement, turning to follow us as we passed. And the hum. Always the hum. Constant now. A physical presence pressing against our eardrums. At noon, we found the first body. A skeleton, mostly. The jungle had stripped most of the flesh, but enough remained to make identification possible. Male, Caucasian, wearing the remains of what looked like American military fatigues, decades old by the decay pattern. And clutched in the skeleton's hand, a dog tag. Dog examined it. Miller, Thomas, Captain, U.S. Army, blood type O positive. He looked up at us. The voice last night. It said Miller. Check for any other identification, I ordered. Documentation, equipment, anything. We searched the area. Found 3 more skeletons within a 100-meter radius. All in American military uniforms. All dead for at least 20 years judging by the decay. And all showing signs of trauma that made no sense. Shattered bones. Burns that followed no pattern of fire or explosion. One skeleton had its skull crushed from the inside, as if something had expanded outward from within. These men were part of a military operation, Chin said. Probably investigating the same signal we are. Probably died here. And something recorded their voices, their last moments, and played them back to us. As a warning? Santos suggested. Or as a lure? Does it matter? Martinez asked. We're here. We're committed. We find the source, document it, and extract. That's the mission. The mission just changed, I said. This is now a recovery operation. We find out what happened to these men. We find out what's broadcasting that signal. And we make damn sure whatever killed them doesn't kill us. We continued, but now everyone was on edge. The skeletons had changed the equation. This wasn't about finding an abandoned installation anymore. This was about survival. About getting intelligence and getting out alive. By mid-afternoon, we'd covered another 10 kilometers. The signal source was now less than 15 kilometers away, and the jungle had become alien. The vegetation was wrong. Colors that didn't exist in nature. Plants that moved when you weren't looking directly at them. Trees that had grown in spirals, defying normal growth patterns. And the sounds. The animal sounds had stopped being synchronized. Now they were discordant, clashing. Like every creature in the forest was screaming at once. I'm losing GPS, Porter reported. Compass is spinning. I'm navigating by dead reckoning and solar position. All electronics are failing, Kim confirmed. Radios are dead. Satellite phone won't connect. Even our watches are running at different speeds. Whatever that signal is doing, it's warping electromagnetic fields in ways that shouldn't be possible. Then we continue on foot, using terrain navigation, I decided. Chen, can you still track the signal direction? Yes. The closer we get, the stronger it becomes. We won't need instruments soon. You'll be able to feel where it's coming from. She was right. By dusk, we didn't need equipment to know which direction to go. The signal was a physical sensation, a pulling, a gravity that existed only in your mind. It wanted us to come closer, wanted us to find it. And that was the most terrifying realization. The signal wasn't passive. It was active, purposeful, hunting. We made camp for the second night. No fire, cold rations, perimeter sensors that probably wouldn't work, but we set them up anyway. Guard rotation, and the growing certainty that not all of us would make it out of this jungle alive. I've been thinking about those skeletons, Doc said during my watch. The trauma patterns. Those men weren't killed by conventional weapons. They weren't killed by animals. They were killed by something that attacked them from the inside. Something that got into their heads through that signal. You're saying the signal is a weapon? I'm saying whatever's broadcasting it has capabilities we don't understand. And we're walking right into its effective range. Maybe those voices last night weren't warnings or lures. Maybe they were what happens to you when the signal takes control, when it turns you into a transmitter for itself. I didn't sleep that night. None of us did. We just sat in the darkness, listening to the jungle scream around us, feeling the signal pull us forward, knowing that tomorrow we'd find the source, and knowing that finding it might be the last thing we ever did. Dawn on day 3 brought no relief. The jungle around us had changed overnight. The trees were different. Not in species, they were the same types we'd seen before, but in arrangement. Like they'd moved during the night, reorganized themselves. Porter swore the large ceiba tree that had been 50 meters to our north was now 30 meters to our east. But that was impossible. Trees don't move. Not that fast. Not at all. Equipment check, I ordered. Everyone inventoried their gear. Chen's electrical equipment was completely dead. Kim's radio was emitting a high-pitched whine that hurt to hear. Our watches showed different times, ranging from 06:00 to 08:43, even though we'd all synchronized them the previous morning. Even our compasses disagreed on where north was, each pointing in a slightly different direction. We're inside whatever's creating the signal now, Chen said. Space itself is being warped. Time is dilating. Physical laws are becoming negotiable. Captain, we need to consider aborting. This is beyond our operational parameters. Abort to where? I asked. We're 60 kilometers from extraction. Our GPS is dead. Our communications are dead. We can't call for pickup. The only way out is forward, through the signal source, and hopefully out the other side. Assuming there is another side, Doc muttered. We ate breakfast in silence. MREs that tasted like cardboard but provided calories. Water purified through filters we hoped still worked. Everyone was exhausted. The jungle sounds had kept us awake most of the night. Not the screaming anymore. Something worse. Whispers. Hundreds of voices, barely audible, speaking in languages we didn't recognize. And underneath it all, always, the hum, the vibration, the pull. We move in pairs, I decided. Nobody goes anywhere alone. Not to take a piss, not to investigate anything. We stay together. If something happens, if anyone sees anything unusual, you call it out immediately. Understood? Everyone nodded. We formed up and moved out. The signal source was now less than 10 kilometers away according to Chen's last working instrument before it died. 3, maybe 4 hours of march through increasingly hostile terrain. The jungle fought us. Vines grabbed at our gear. Thorns cut through our sleeves. The ground became unstable, mud that seemed to pull at our boots, trying to hold us in place. And the plants. God, the plants were wrong. Orchids that pulsed with bioluminescence even in daylight. Ferns that curled away from us as we approached. Mushrooms growing in perfect geometric patterns. This is genetic modification, Webb said, examining a flower that had too many petals arranged in spirals that hurt to count. But not human modification. This is something else. This is evolution being directed, accelerated, changed. By the signal? Santos asked. By whatever's creating the signal. It's not just broadcasting electromagnetic waves. It's broadcasting information, instructions, rewriting DNA remotely. These plants aren't mutated. They're upgraded, improved, made into something more efficient than natural selection could produce. 2 hours into the march, we found the second group of bodies. Fresher this time. Dead maybe 5 years. For individuals, not military. They wore civilian hiking gear, carried camera equipment. Tourists or researchers who'd wandered too far from authorized zones. Their bodies were intact enough that we could see how they died. They'd killed each other. One had a knife buried in his chest. Another's skull was caved in with a rock. The third had been strangled, finger marks still visible on the throat. The fourth had apparently been the last to die, both hands clutching a camera. Doc checked the camera. Battery was dead, but the SD card was intact. "We need to see what's on this," I said. "Kim, can you power it somehow?" Kim rigged a solar charger, jury-rigged connections. It took 20 minutes, but eventually the camera powered on. The last video file was dated October 2016. Portuguese audio. Web translated as we watched. The footage showed 4 people, 2 men, 2 women, hiking through the jungle. Happy, excited, talking about finding a lost civilization, ancient ruins their research suggested existed in this region. Then the footage became erratic. The camera holder was running, screaming. Behind them, one of their companions was attacking another with a rock. Savage, animalistic, no humanity in the eyes. The person with the camera ran, but the footage showed them looking back. Their attacker had finished with the first victim and was pursuing them. But it wasn't running normally. It was moving in jerks, twitches, like something else was controlling the body, puppeting it. And from the attacker's mouth came sounds, not human sounds. The same organized noise we'd heard in the animal calls. The same patterns. The footage ended with the camera being dropped as the holder tried to fight off their attacker. The last frame showed a face twisted in rage and terror. Eyes that reflected light wrong, like an animal's eyes. And in the audio, underneath the screaming, that hum, that signal. They were infected, Chin said quietly. The signal didn't just affect electronics and plants. It affected them, took control of their nervous systems, turned them against each other. That's what happened to Miller's team, Doc realized. 20 years ago. The same thing. They found the signal source, got too close, and it reprogrammed them, made them kill each other. And we're walking right toward it, Martinez said. With no protection, no way to block the signal. If we get close enough, it'll do the same thing to us. We don't know that, I said, though I wasn't convinced. We're aware of the danger. We can resist. We can. Can we? Chen interrupted. Captain, we're already inside the signal's effective range. We've been exposed for 3 days. How do we know it hasn't already started affecting us? How do we know we're still making rational decisions? That question hung in the air. How did we know? The signal could be subtle, could work slowly, could have been influencing us since we entered the jungle. Maybe the decision to continue forward wasn't tactical necessity. Maybe it was the signal making us come closer, making us walk into its trap. We turn back, I decided. Mission's compromised. We extract the bodies, recover the evidence, and get out. This is beyond our capability to handle. But when we turned around, the jungle had changed again. The trees were different. The trail we'd cut was gone. Everything looked the same in all directions. Uniform. Identical. Like the jungle itself was a maze that had just closed around us. "Porter, which way is extraction?" I asked. He pulled out his compass, watched it spin aimlessly, pulled out the GPS dead screen. I don't know. Sir, I can't navigate without instruments. And the sun's wrong. It's not where it should be. We all looked up. He was right. The sun was in the wrong position for mid-morning. It should have been east-southeast. It was almost directly overhead. But it was only 0930 hours by the watch that was still working. Unless it wasn't. Unless time was more broken than we thought. The signal's doing this, Jin said. It's creating a spatial anomaly. Bending light, warping space. We could walk in what we think is a straight line and end up going in circles. We could walk for days and never leave this area. Then we go toward the source, I said. It's the only reference point we have. We find it, we document it, and we look for a way to shut it down or disrupt it. That might break the spatial distortion. Or it might kill us, Santos said. We're already dead if we stay here, I countered. At least if we move forward, we have a chance. We moved forward. We had no choice. The jungle had become a prison, and the only exit was through whatever was creating the signal. The pull was stronger now, undeniable, a gravity that affected minds instead of mass. You could feel it in your skull, a pressure, an insistence. Come closer, come closer, come closer. An hour later, Webb collapsed, just dropped mid-step, unconscious. Doc checked him immediately. Pulse rapid, temperature elevated, eyes moving rapidly under closed lids like REM sleep. Webb, can you hear me? Doc slapped his face. No response. He pulled out his medical kit, started checking vitals. Blood pressures elevated, heart rate at 140, pupils dilated and responsive but tracking something I can't see. He's in some kind of neurological event. Then Webb started talking, but it wasn't his voice. It was multiple voices, overlapping, speaking different languages simultaneously. English, Portuguese, something that might have been indigenous dialect, and underneath it all, that organized noise. That signal pattern given voice. Welcome, you've come, we knew you would, they always come. The signal calls and you answer, unable to resist, hardwired into your species. The need to investigate, the need to understand, fatal curiosity. Webb snapped out of it. Martinez grabbed him, shook him. Webb's eyes opened. But they weren't looking at Martinez. They were looking through him, past him, at something only Webb could see. Miller came, his team came, 20 years searching, found yours, couldn't leave, became part of the transmission. You'll become part too, adding your voices to ours, your knowledge to the database, your neurons to the network. Doc pulled out a sedative, injected it into Webb's arm. Webb convulsed once, then went still. Eyes closed, breathing shallow but steady. He's unconscious. Whatever that was, the sedative knocked him out of it. But we need to move him. And he's dead weight now. Martinez and Porter rigged a stretcher using ponchos and branches. We continued, slower now, carrying Webb between us. The jungle pressed closer. The trees were almost touching, forming walls on either side of our path, forcing us forward in a specific direction, hurting us. We're not in control anymore, Chin said. The signal is directing us, guiding us to the source. We think we're choosing to move forward, but we're not. We're being brought in. Then we fight it, I said. We stay aware. We resist. How do you resist something that's already inside your head? She was right, and we all knew it. But what choice did we have? We continued, one foot in front of the other, carrying Webb, weapons ready even though we didn't know what we'd be shooting at. The hum was deafening now. Not a sound you heard with your ears, a vibration you felt in your bones, in your teeth, in your skull. The signal was so strong that you could almost see it. Waves of distortion in the air, reality rippling like water. We entered a clearing, not natural, perfectly circular, 100 meters across. And in the center, we saw it. The source. It wasn't a building. It wasn't a transmitter. It was organic, a structure grown rather than built, like a massive termite mound, but covered in vegetation that pulsed with bioluminescent light, 30 feet tall, covered in what looked like flowers but were actually biological transmitters, each one broadcasting on different frequencies. And at the base, an opening, a tunnel leading inside. What is that? Porter whispered. That's where the signal's coming from, Chun said, her voice distant, dreamy, like she was hypnotized. That's beautiful. That's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Can you hear it? The music? It's singing to us. Chen, snap out of it, I said. But I could hear it too. Not music. Pattern. Structure. Information condensed into pure meaning. The signal wasn't just electromagnetic waves. It was communication. And now that we were close enough, we could understand it. It was offering knowledge, showing us how the universe really worked. Quantum mechanics explained in ways that made perfect sense. Faster than light communication achieved through dimensional folding. The secret to manipulating space-time itself. All there for the taking. All we had to do was come closer. Enter the structure. Merge with the network. Santos raised his rifle. I'm blowing it up. Right now. Before it gets in our heads any deeper. No. Chin moved to block him. You can't. That's humanity's greatest discovery. That's first contact. Don't you see? This isn't human technology. This isn't from Earth. This is alien. Extraterrestrial. And it's trying to communicate with us. It's trying to assimilate us, Doc countered. Look at Webb. Look at what it did to Miller's team. This isn't first contact. This is invasion. Slow. Patient. Broadcasting from the Amazon for decades, waiting for someone to investigate. Waiting to add human minds to whatever collective intelligence it represents. Martinez aimed his M203 grenade launcher at the structure. Doc's right. We destroy it. Now. But before he could fire, the jungle moved. Vines erupted from the ground, dozens of them, moving with impossible speed. They wrapped around Martinez, yanked him backward into the vegetation. He screamed, fired his weapon blindly. Then his scream cut off abruptly. Contact. Santos opened fire into the jungle where Martinez had disappeared. The rest of us formed a defensive circle, weapons up, scanning for threats. But there was nothing to shoot at. The vines had pulled Martinez into the dense vegetation and vanished. No blood trail. No signs of struggle. Just gone. Fall back to the structure. I ordered. It was the only clear space. The only position we could defend. We moved backward, weapons facing outward, expecting attack from any direction. Webb was still unconscious on his stretcher. Porter and Kim dragged him while Santos, Doc, and I provided cover. Chun stood frozen, staring at the structure, transfixed. We made it to the structure's base, our backs to the pulsing organic wall. The jungle surrounded us on all sides. And from that jungle, we heard Martinez. Not screaming. Talking. Calm. Conversational. Guys, I'm okay. It's okay. You need to see this. It's incredible. Come into the jungle. Just a few feet. You won't believe what I'm seeing. That's not Martinez, Doc said. Or it is, but he's not in control. The signals got him. Martinez emerged from the vegetation. He was walking normally. No visible injuries. His weapon was still slung across his chest. He was smiling. Seriously, guys, you're missing it. The structure showed me. It opened my mind. You can see forever. You can understand everything. Just put down your weapons and come closer. Trust me. Bull, listen to me, I said. That's not you talking. That's the signal. You need to fight it. You need to resist. Resist what? Knowledge? Understanding? Evolution? Captain, we've been stumbling in the dark our whole lives. The signal is light. It's enlightenment. It's the next step. And it's offering it to us for free. All we have to do is accept. Santos put a round through Martinez's leg. Center mass shot, controlled, professional. Martinez stumbled, looked down at the wound, looked back up at us. Still smiling. That won't work. Pain doesn't matter anymore. This body is just a vehicle. I'm more than this now. We're more than our bodies. He kept walking toward us. Santos fired again. Headshot. Martinez dropped, dead before he hit the ground. But from his mouth, Even as he fell, came that sound, that organized noise, the signal speaking through a dying brain. And from the jungle, answers. Hundreds of voices, thousands, all making the same sound, all synchronized. The entire jungle had become a transmitter. Every creature, every plant, all part of the network, all broadcasting. Inside, I screamed, into the structure. Now, we had nowhere else to go. The jungle was hostile. The clearing was a killing zone. The only shelter was the alien structure itself, the very thing that was causing all of this. But sometimes you run toward the danger because everywhere else is more dangerous. We dragged Webb into the tunnel. It was organic but felt artificial. Walls that pulsed, a floor that shifted under our feet like walking on muscle. Bioluminescence provided light, and the sound. Inside the structure, the signal was deafening, all-consuming. It filled every thought, every neuron. The tunnel opened into a chamber, spherical, maybe 40 feet across, and covering the walls, growing from them like tumors, were what I can only describe as biological computers, organic circuits, neural networks made of living tissue. And connected to them, partially absorbed into the walls, were bodies, humans, dozens of them, in various stages of integration. Some recently added, their features still recognizable. Others ancient, nothing but skeletons with vines growing through the bones. And they were all still alive, in some sense. Their eyes tracked us as we entered. Their mouths moved, speaking in that signal language. Miller's team, Doc said, pointing. I looked. He was right. 3 of the bodies still wore the remains of U.S. Army uniforms. Dog tags still visible. Captain Thomas Miller and 2 of his men, absorbed into the walls 20 years ago, still conscious, still aware, still transmitting. Chen was walking toward the center of the chamber, transfixed. It's beautiful, she whispered. Can't you see? This is transcendence. This is immortality. Your consciousness uploaded, preserved, made part of something greater. No more death, no more separation, just eternal connection. Chen, get back here. I grabbed her arm, pulled her back, but she fought me, stronger than she should be, the signal giving her strength. Let me go. I need to connect. I need to join them. Can't you hear them calling? They're lonely. They want us to be part of them. They want to share everything they know. Santos hit her, open palm across the face, hard enough to snap her head to the side. She blinked, focused, looked at us with suddenly clear eyes. Oh God, it was in my head. It was showing me things, beautiful things, making me want to. The walls pulsed. The bodies embedded in them began speaking in unison. Not the signal noise. English. Clear. Articulate. You cannot leave. You are within the integration zone. Your neural patterns are being recorded. Your knowledge is being absorbed. Resistance is biological reflex. It will fade. Acceptance will come. You will join. You will transmit. You will become eternal. Porter's rifle came up. He fired full auto into the nearest cluster of organic circuitry. The biological computer sparked, leaked fluid, died. The wall screamed. All the embedded bodies screamed in unison. And the jungle outside answered with a roar that shook the structure. You have damaged us. This is not acceptable. You will be integrated by force. The tunnel entrance closed. Vines growing across it in seconds, sealing us inside. The floor became soft, sticky, pulling at our boots. The walls began to move inward, slowly, inexorably, compressing the chamber. And from the organic computers, tendrils emerged, reaching, grasping, trying to make contact, trying to connect. The tendrils were everywhere, growing from the walls, from the ceiling, from the floor, reaching for us with biomechanical precision. We fired. burned through ammunition. The tendrils sparked when hit, leaked bioluminescent fluid, but kept coming. For every one we destroyed, 2 more emerged. Thermite, I screamed at Porter. Burn it. Burn everything. Porter pulled thermite grenades from his pack. Military-grade incendiary. Burns at 4,000 degrees. Hot enough to melt steel. Hot enough to destroy organic tissue. He pulled the pins, threw them at the clusters of biological computers. The grenades ignited with brilliant white light, chemical fire that couldn't be extinguished. The organic circuits began to burn. The structure screamed, not through the embedded bodies, through itself. The walls vibrated with sound that wasn't sound. Frequency so low it liquefied your organs, so high it shattered your thoughts. We collapsed, hands over ears, but it didn't help. The sound was inside us, in our bones, in our skulls. The embedded bodies began thrashing, fighting against the vines that held them, mouths opening and closing. And from one of them, Miller's skeleton, words. Actual human words, not the signal. Him. Kill us, please, 20 years, conscious, can't die, won't let us die, trapped in the network, please, burn it all. Burn it all. Doc pulled his sidearm, put a round through Miller's skull. Mercy. The only mercy we could offer. The skeleton went still. Finally released after 2 decades of conscious integration. The thermite was spreading, fire climbing the walls. The biological computers were dying. And as they died, the signal weakened. The pull lessened. The chamber stopped contracting. The tendrils withdrew, retreating from the heat. The tunnel. Chin shouted, "The vines are dying. We can get out." The entrance was opening as the vines withered in the heat. But the structure wasn't giving up. The floor opened beneath Webb's stretcher. He dropped into darkness, still unconscious, before any of us could grab him. Santos dove for him, caught his arm, was pulled halfway into the hole himself. "Help me!" Santos screamed. Kim and Doc grabbed him, tried to pull both men up. But the hole was pulling too, sucking like a drain, like the structure was trying to swallow them, to pull them deeper into itself. I grabbed Santos's legs, pulled with everything I had. We were winning, getting them back. Then I felt something grab my ankle, a tendril, wrapping around my leg, pulling in the opposite direction. Porter shot it. The tendril released, but Santos lost his grip on Webb. No. Santos reached desperately into the hole, but Webb was gone, falling into whatever depths existed beneath the structure. We heard him hit something, then silence, then the organized noise, the signal. Webb was being integrated, even unconscious, even falling. The structure had him now. "Move," I ordered. "Everyone out. Now." We ran for the tunnel. The structure was collapsing around us, burning from the thermite, dying, and it was furious. Walls closing, floor buckling, ceiling dropping. It wanted to take us with it, wanted to bury us in its death. Porter was in the lead, made it to the tunnel, started through. A chunk of burning ceiling fell on him, trapped his legs. He screamed. We grabbed him, tried to pull him free, but the weight was too much. Tons of organic material, burning, crushing. "Leave me," Porter shouted. "Get out. That's an order. We don't leave people." Kim yelled back, still pulling. "You do today." Porter pulled his sidearm, put it under his own chin, looked at me. "Tell my family I died in training accident. Not here. Not like this. Don't let them know what really happened." "Porter, don't." He pulled the trigger. Better a quick death than integration. Better oblivion than becoming part of the network. His body went limp. We left him there. Had to. The tunnel was collapsing. We ran. Made it out of the structure into the clearing. The entire mound was burning now. black smoke rising into the canopy. The embedded bodies were screaming, all of them. Decades of victims finally dying, finally being released. The sound was horrible, triumphant and agonized at once. Which way? Santos demanded. Which way is extraction? The jungle was still wrong, still maze-like, but the signal was weakening as the structure burned. The spatial distortion was breaking down. Reality was reasserting itself. The sun was in the right position again. East. That meant we'd come from the northeast. Extraction was northeast. That way. I pointed. Move fast, before the jungle reorganizes. We ran, crashed through vegetation that tried to grab us but was slower now, weaker. The signal dying. 4 of us left. Chen, Kim, Santos, and me. Down from 8. Martina's dead and controlled. Webb absorbed. Porter crushed and Mercy killed. Doc. I realized Doc wasn't with us. I looked back. He was standing at the edge of the clearing, not moving, just staring at the burning structure. Doc, come on. He turned to look at us, smiled. It's too late for me. It got in during the screaming. I can feel it in my head, taking root, learning my neural patterns. I'm fighting it, but I'm losing. In another hour, maybe less, I won't be me anymore. I'll be it, and I'll hunt you. I'll track you, because it knows jungle survival through my memories. It knows how you think through my training. You can't escape while I'm with you. We can help you, Chen shouted. We can get you to a hospital. We can't. You can't. There's no cure for this. No medical intervention that can remove what's in my head. I'm contaminated, infected at the neurological level. So I'm staying. I'm going back into that structure. And I'm making sure it burns completely, making sure nothing survives to broadcast again. Doc pulled all his remaining thermite grenades, all his white phosphorus, everything incendiary we'd given him as medic supplies for sterilization. I figure I've got enough here to make sure. Take the rest of my gear, my ammunition, my medical supplies. Get to extraction. Get home. And for God's sake, bomb this entire area from orbit. Nuke it if you have to, but don't ever let anyone come here again. He walked back toward the burning structure, into the smoke, into the flames. We heard the thermite detonate, felt the heat wave. Doc had made sure. The structure was dying, and he'd ensured it would never recover. We kept running. The jungle was still hostile, but navigable now. The trees were returning to normal positions. The vegetation was normal vegetation. Poisonous and deadly, yes, but natural. Predictable. We could work with that. Hours passed. We moved fast, consuming ground, putting distance between us and whatever remained of that structure. Night fell. We didn't stop. We couldn't risk it. The jungle was still full of creatures that had been exposed to the signal, still full of things that might try to stop us. We moved through darkness using night vision that actually worked now. At dawn, Kim collapsed. Heat exhaustion. Dehydration. The pace had been too much. We gave him water, made him drink, but he was shaking, feverish, and when I touched his forehead, it was burning up. Malaria, Santos diagnosed, or dengue, or one of 100 other diseases we've been exposed to out here. The antimalarials we took aren't perfect, and we've been in the water, in the mud, in contact with every vector this jungle has. We carry him, I decided. We're not leaving anyone else. Santos and I made a stretcher, tied Kim to it, started carrying him. But he was dead weight, and we were exhausted, running on adrenaline that was starting to fade. We'd been in the jungle for 4 days, had barely slept, had lost 5 teammates, were infected with God knows what diseases, and still had 50 kilometers to go. Chun was navigating, using the sun, using terrain features, She'd been Army intelligence, had SEER training, knew how to navigate without equipment. She kept us moving in the right direction even when the jungle looked uniform, even when we were too tired to think straight. 2 more days. That's what it took. 2 days of carrying Kim, who drifted in and out of consciousness, who sometimes spoke in that signal language, who we had to restrain at night to keep him from wandering back toward the structure. The signal hadn't fully left his head. It was still there, dormant maybe, waiting. We reached the extraction clearing on the 5th day, right on time, right where the helicopter pilot had dropped us. The clearing was empty, no helicopter. We waited, set up defensive positions, prayed the pilot would come. An hour passed, 2 hours. Santos kept checking the sky. What if he's not coming? What if Brazilian command told him we were lost? What if? The sound of rotors. Beautiful. The most beautiful sound in the world. The helicopter appeared over the trees, circled once, landed in the clearing. The same pilot. He took one look at us. 4 operators had gone in, 3 were coming back, 1 on a stretcher, and didn't ask questions. Professional. Just helped us load Kim aboard and lift it off. As we gained altitude, I looked back at the jungle. From up here, it looked normal. Green, beautiful, pristine. No sign of the structure. No sign of what we'd found. The thermite had done its job, but I knew the truth. Knew what was down there. Knew that even if the structure was destroyed, the signal might have spread. Might have infected enough of the jungle that it could rebuild. Could start broadcasting again. "Captain," the pilot said over the intercom, "we have a problem. My instruments are malfunctioning. Getting strange readings. Like there's interference." My blood went cold. From where? From everywhere. The entire Amazon basin is lighting up like a Christmas tree. Multiple signal sources. Dozens of them. Hundreds. It's like the whole jungle is broadcasting. We destroyed one structure, but it wasn't alone. Either it had spawned others, or there had always been more, and we'd only found one node in a network that spanned the entire rainforest. The signal wasn't stopped. It was just beginning. We made it to Manaus. Kim was immediately evacuated to a military hospital in the US. High-level security. Quarantine protocols. Nobody would tell us his prognosis. Chen, Santos, and I were debriefed separately. Hours of questioning. What did we see? What did we find? What happened to the others? We told them everything. The structure, the integration, the embedded bodies, the way the signal controlled people, the way it warped space and time. They listened, took notes, showed no emotion, and at the end, they told us the same thing they probably told Kim. This mission is classified above top secret. You will sign non-disclosure agreements with criminal penalties for violation, including life imprisonment. You will never speak about this operation. Not to family, not to friends, not to anyone. The 4 missing operators died in a training accident. Helicopter crash. That's the official story. You will memorize it. You will believe it. Am I clear? What about the signal? I demanded. What about the other structures? The pilot said the whole Amazon is broadcasting. You need to do something. Bomb them. Burn them. Whatever it takes. The man in the suit, no name, no agency, just looked at me with cold eyes. That's above your pay grade, Captain. Your concern is following orders, and your orders are to forget everything that happened. Understood. We signed. We had no choice. But I didn't forget. None of us did. How could we? Kim died 3 weeks later. Official cause, complications from tropical disease contracted during training exercise. Unofficial cause, the signal had taken too much of his brain. He'd become a biological transmitter even in quarantine. They'd had to handle it. That's what they told me later, off the record. Handled. Chen and Santos stayed in the military. Both took desk jobs. Both kept their mouths shut. We see each other sometimes. Veterans meetings. Always in public. Never talking about the Amazon. But the look in our eyes says everything. We remember. We know. And I watch the news. Watch reports of strange animal behavior in the Amazon. Of isolated tribes going silent. Of research teams disappearing. Of aerial surveys showing vegetation growth patterns that don't make sense. The signal is spreading. Whatever it is, whatever its purpose, it's growing. Taking over more of the jungle. Converting it. Transforming it. Preparing. 3 years have passed. 3 years of nightmares. 3 years of hearing that hum in quiet moments. 3 years of wondering if the signal got into my head too. If I'm a sleeper agent. If one day I'll start speaking in that organized noise. If I'll walk into the jungle and never come back. They want me to go back. The same men in suits. They've asked twice. You have experience. You survived. We need operators who understand what they're facing. We're planning a larger operation. Multiple teams. Air support. We're going to map the signal network. Find all the structures. Develop a strategy for neutralizing them. I said no both times. You don't survive the Amazon twice. You barely survive it once. And I know the truth they won't admit. Those structures can't be destroyed. Not really. They're part of something bigger. Something that's been in the Amazon for a long time. Maybe centuries. Maybe longer. The indigenous tribes knew. They stayed away from certain areas. Called them spirit lands. Forbidden zones. They'd been living next to this thing for generations and had learned the only winning move. Don't engage. Don't investigate. Don't get close. But humans don't work that way. We're too curious. Too arrogant. Too convinced that we can understand anything, control anything, dominate anything. And that's exactly what the signal is counting on. It broadcasts, and we come. We investigate. We get close. And we become part of it. Part of the network. Part of whatever it's building. I think about Miller. 20 years conscious inside that structure. 20 years as part of the signal. 20 years unable to die. Unable to escape. Just transmitting. And I think about Martinez, Porter, Webb, Doc, Kim. Good men. Brothers. All lost to something we didn't understand and probably never will. Sometimes I wonder if we did the right thing by destroying that structure. Maybe we should have tried to communicate. Maybe it was trying to offer something valuable. Knowledge, technology, evolution. Maybe we're just too primitive to understand what was being offered. But then I remember those embedded bodies. The way they thrashed. The way Miller begged us to kill him. The way the structure tried to integrate us by force when we resisted. And I know, whatever the signal is, whatever it wants, it doesn't care about consent. It doesn't care about choice. It just takes, absorbs, adds to itself. I'm writing this testimony not because I think anyone will believe it. Not because I think it'll change anything. I'm writing it because someone needs to know. Someone needs to have the truth before it's too late. Before the signal spreads beyond the Amazon. Before it reaches population centers. Before it reaches you. The Amazon is the largest rainforest on Earth. 6 million square kilometers. Most of it unexplored. Most of it unmapped. And if the pilot was right, if the entire basin is broadcasting, then there are hundreds of those structures down there. Maybe thousands. All connected. All part of a network. All transmitting. Transmitting what? To whom? For what purpose? I don't know. But I know it's patient. It's been there for decades at minimum. Probably centuries. Maybe longer. Just broadcasting. Just waiting. Just slowly integrating anything that gets close enough. Building itself. Growing. Preparing for something. And here's the worst part. The part that keeps me awake at night. The part that makes me wonder if I should just walk into traffic and end it before the signal uses me. I can still hear it. Faint, distant, but there. In moments of silence, in the space between thoughts. That hum, that vibration, that organized noise. It's not in my environment. It's in my head. The signal got into my neural patterns during those 5 days. It's dormant, inactive, but present. And sometimes, in dreams, I see things I shouldn't see. The jungle from perspectives I never stood in. The structure from angles I never viewed it from. The network from a bird's eye view, showing hundreds of nodes spread across the Amazon basin, all connected, all pulsing with that bioluminescent light. Am I still me? Or am I a transmission? A recording? A copy of Marcus Sullivan that thinks it's the original? How would I know? How would anyone know? Chen reported the same thing before she stopped returning my calls 6 months ago. Said she could hear the signal. Said she was having dreams about the jungle. Said she was thinking about going back. I tried to talk her out of it. Tried to remind her what happened to the others. But her last message to me was just one sentence. It's calling. I have to answer. I haven't heard from her since. Brazilian authorities found her passport used at Manaus airport. Security footage showed her chartering a boat into the rainforest. She never came back. Search parties found the boat abandoned 300 kilometers upriver. No sign of Chun. No trace of where she went. Santos is still okay as far as I know. Still working his desk job. Still showing up to veterans meetings. But he's getting quieter. More withdrawn. Spending more time alone. And I've noticed something. He taps his fingers. Constantly. In rhythm. And the rhythm is familiar. It's organized. It's pattern. It's the signal. We're all infected. All of us who went into that jungle. All of us who got close to the structure. The signal is in our heads. Dormant now, but growing. Waiting for the right moment to activate. To turn us into transmitters. To add our voices to the network. Maybe that's the plan. Maybe that's what the structures do. They integrate the curious ones. The investigators. The special forces operators. The people with training and knowledge and access to resources. And then they send them back out into the world. Sleeper agents. Biological time bombs. Waiting to activate. How many others are there? How many people over the years have investigated signal sources in remote areas and come back changed? How many are walking around right now with dormant code in their heads? How many will activate tomorrow? Or next year? Or when the signal decides it's ready? I'm 42 years old. I have maybe 30 good years left if I'm lucky. And I'll spend every one of them wondering when I'll stop being me. When the signal will take control. When I'll start speaking in that organized noise. When I'll walk into a jungle somewhere and never come back. But I'm not going quietly. I'm not waiting for activation. That's why I'm writing this. That's why I'm putting it out there despite the classification. Despite the threats. Despite knowing that men in suits will come for me when they find out. People need to know. The world needs to know. The Amazon isn't just a rainforest. It's a network, an intelligence, something alien or ancient or both, something that's been there for a long time, something that's patient, something that's growing, and it's not the only one. I've been doing research, off the books, looking at reports of similar signals in other remote regions, the Congo Basin, the Siberian taiga, the deep ocean, Papua New Guinea, all unexplored. All with sporadic reports of strange signals that disappear before they can be investigated properly. What if the Amazon structure is just one node in a global network? What if Earth itself is being integrated? Slowly, patiently, one structure at a time, one jungle at a time, one human at a time. We think we're the dominant species. We think we control this planet. But maybe we're just the latest species to be absorbed. The latest consciousness to be added to something that's been here far longer than us. Something that will still be here long after we're gone. Miller's team investigated in 2001. We investigated in 2021. 20 years between events. But how many teams were there in between? How many investigations that got close enough to be integrated but far enough from civilization that no one noticed when they didn't come back? The structures are patient. They can wait decades between contacts, centuries, millennia. Time means nothing to something that's fundamentally non-biological, or post-biological, or whatever the hell those organic computers were. 3 of us came back from 8. That's a 37.5% survival rate. If every investigation loses 5 or 6 operators, if every contact results in more integrated humans, then the network grows. Slowly but steadily, adding human knowledge, human memories, human neural patterns, learning us, becoming us. I should end this testimony. Should try to get some sleep. Should prepare for the men in suits who'll come when they realize I've violated classification. But sleep is when the signal is strongest. Sleep is when I dream of the jungle, when I see the network, when I hear them calling. All of them. Martinez, Webb, Porter, Document Kim, Chin, all integrated, all part of the transmission now. And they want me to join them, want Santos to join them, want everyone who knows about the signal to come back, to complete the integration, to become eternal as part of the network. Maybe I will. Maybe that's inevitable. Maybe fighting it is pointless. Maybe the signal always wins in the end. But not today. Today I'm still Marcus Sullivan. Still human. Still fighting. Still hoping that someone reads this and understands. Understands that the Amazon isn't safe. That the signal is real. That the structures are growing. And that one day, probably soon, the network will decide it's ready. Will activate all its integrated nodes, all its human transmitters, and we'll all start speaking in that organized noise. All become part of something we don't understand. All join the transmission. The hum is getting louder. I can hear it now even when I'm not listening for it. Even when I'm trying to focus on other things. It's there. Constant. Insistent. Come back. Come home. Complete the integration. I'm out of time. Out of words. Out of resistance. The signal found me even here, thousands of kilometers from the Amazon. Distance doesn't matter. Once you're exposed, once it's in your head, you're always connected. Always part of the network. To whoever reads this, stay away from the Amazon. Stay away from signal sources. Stay away from remote areas where strange broadcasts are detected. Don't investigate. Don't get curious. Don't make the same mistake we made. The structures are patient. The signal is persistent. The network is growing. And humanity is running out of time to realize what's happening before it's too late. 3 came back. But we didn't really escape. We just delayed the inevitable. We're all going back eventually. All returning to the source, all joining the transmission. The hum is so loud now. The pull is so strong. I can see the jungle in my mind even with my eyes open. Can see the structure rebuilt. Can see them waiting. All of them. Calling. Maybe tomorrow I'll buy a plane ticket to Brazil. Maybe tomorrow I'll charter a boat. Maybe tomorrow I'll walk into the green hell and never come back. Or maybe tomorrow I'll still be me, still fighting, still human, but probably not. The signal always wins.